Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Vidamaneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 2, Episode 14. Telling people what to do with this project and in that situation and on that call and with that client. Well, that's called micromanaging. And believe me, no one benefits from micromanagement. Sure, you may just think that you're super detailed. But as General Patton said, never tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. And after all, that's what you want. That's why you hired them, so they could surprise you with their ingenuity and creativity. You brought them on board to see what they could bring to the party, what they could contribute to the business. So let them. Now, I bet you understand that micromanaging is really mostly about faith. When you choose the micromanagement path, it's mainly because you don't trust that it's going to get done well or right. So there is some personal work that you'll need to do here. But how? How do you grow your faith that you'll get the outcome you want? Basically, that things won't go completely off the rails. Well, there are 3 critically important questions that you have to ask yourself. 1, do you have the right people in place? 2, do they have the right training? And 3, do they have the right tools? Now, if the answer to any of those is no, that's task number 1, to get that sorted. Because until you do, you'll have a very difficult time building trust. However, once you do have all that in place, then you can move on to focusing on tips to tame that inner micromanagement monster. Number 1, get aligned on what success looks like. How in the world can someone figure out what to do if they have no idea of what they're trying to accomplish? You have to be clear in your communication of the goal. What outcome are you after? What does it look like? Maybe even what doesn't it look like? You have to be clear on where you're going and everyone's role in getting you there. And then you have to hold people accountable. Number 2, stay engaged. You have to understand the difference in not micromanaging versus abdicating your leadership responsibilities. Sure, don't sit on someone's head all the time, but you can't be the absent professor either. One of the best ways to do this is to set milestones instead of always checking up on tasks. And then let your team member give you regular status updates. What's going well? What isn't? Where do they need additional resources? Is the timeline still in place? And if not, why? Where are they feeling stuck? And most importantly, what do they think is the action they should take to get unstuck? Remember, you're the leader, the coach. By the way, we'll talk more about that later. Number 3, remember, timing counts. The most helpful leaders don't try to preempt every problem before it's even happened. Instead, they stay aware until the person is at a point that they're already involved in the project, they can see where there may be gaps, and they're ready to listen. Now, this one can be difficult because it requires your patience. You're going to have to let your team member experience some challenges firsthand without putting on your white hat and riding to the rescue. But what do you do when they're ready? How do you jump in? I'll sum it up in one word: listen. Don't charge in with preconceived notions of what's happening, what should happen, and where everything is going wrong. Take a breath. Ask clarifying questions, and give the team time and space to tell you what they've done so far, where the friction is, and what suggestions they have to fix it. You don't know, maybe they already have the answer and just need to mastermind it with you. And if you stop and listen, you might find out that they have an idea you never thought of before. Number 4, adapt to the project and the players. Be sure to adjust your approach to fit the context. You wouldn't or shouldn't manage experienced, more senior team members the same way you would junior or less experienced ones. Each needs different things, brings different experience, and your leadership and communication needs to adapt to that. And by the same token, all projects aren't the same either. You don't need to manage low-important projects as closely as you would high-impact ones. Flex to fit the need. And finally, number 5, don't do, lead. Your most effective role is as leader, mentor. You have to guide your team so that they can effectively do the work themselves. Your role is not, I repeat, not to do the work yourself. So, when you see something that isn't quite the way you like it, the answer is not to jump in and do it yourself. First, you already have too much to do. Second, this is not part of your job description. And third, how do you expect your team to ever build their skills if you keep doing their jobs for them? The only thing you'll succeed in doing is crushing their creative spirit. Then you can kiss innovation goodbye. So, when next you have the urge to grab someone by the ear and lead them around, remember these tips and set yourself free from micromanaging. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.